Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Crash, and today we're recommending manga for you guys again. So this is part 2. If you haven't checked part 1, there will be a link on the upper corner for you to check out. On this video, we're gonna check out some people who have some really big manga lists, and I wanted to start with Nephilim, because he's someone that I know has a lot of deep knowledge in manga. He has 605 manga, which is a bit more than me. I have around 500 total, so that's less than he has completed. And the problem here is that he wanted me to recommend him a manga that is either a historical manga or a delinquent manga. And the problem is that I know him, and I know that he's probably read everything from those genres that I might have as well. So the first two manga that came to mind was Rookies, that I recommended on the previous video as well, and he has read that. The other was Beelzebub, which he also has read again. So those are my two delinquent manga, my go-to delinquent manga recommendations, and they will not work. In terms of historical manga, I kind of want to check. I think he has read Innocent as well. And this is okay. This is alphabetically. Let me just put this on all. I'm pretty sure he has read Innocent. Just two ends, lady. Okay, yeah. This is read Innocent Rogue, which is a sequel. So it doesn't make sense that he hasn't read it. Okay, this Saturn Pro. Okay, he rated it 5. Okay, Innocent is really great. It's not a 5, in my opinion. I haven't checked the sequel. I haven't checked Rogue, but that one seems to be pretty good as well. Alabaster. This one is interesting. So for Neff, basically, if I can find a manga within the genres that you requested me that he hasn't read, then that will be my recommendation. So the hard thing is to find something that he hasn't read on those specific genres. And not sure. Okay, so I'm going through my list, and this comes to mind in terms of delinquent. I'm not sure if this is considered a delinquent manga. This is kind of like a parody sports manga from the 80s, and one of my favorite manga from the 80s, actually, out of the ones that I've read. Hono no Tenkuzei, or Blazing Transfer Student. If you guys have not checked this one out and are fans of, comedy or parodies, or fans of the 80s manga, this is definitely one that you guys should check out. I actually have a review on it on Anilist that you guys can look at and see what my full opinions of it are. Now the thing is, okay, he has it on planning. So let me just check what's the size of his planning list. 300 manga, almost 300 manga, 287. Okay, I'm gonna count it. This is my recommendation to you, Neff. Again, this is kind of more of a sportsy manga, but it has some delinquency. It has a delinquent tag here, so I'm counting it. And I think you'll like it. It's again shonen. It's an old shonen from around the same time as Okuro no Ken, which I know you're a huge fan as well. And it is a bit of a parody of those kind of manga, like those battle manga and those sports manga of the 80s. So yes, I think you're gonna have a good time with this one. You probably already knew of this manga or this mangaka, I'm sure, but I don't care. You haven't read it, that's my recommendation. Go read it. Go read it. Okay, next that we have Tanvilad. And Tan is someone that I know that follows a lot of shonens, and he reads a lot of big boy manga. When I mean big boy, it's kind of like, these big 300, 400 volume manga. He's someone who really enjoys that. As far as I'm aware, he's someone that recommended me The Prince of Tennis. That I said I'm gonna read it. I haven't yet, but I swear, I said I'm gonna read it soon, eventually. You're reading JoJo, okay? So I kind of want to give you something big as well. If not for payback, for recommending me a 400 chapter manga. And I think it's gonna be hard. I know you've read like Dragon Ball, you've read The Big Tree, Bleach, Freesia, read Freesia as well. As Class, I think you've read Nero as well. So yeah, you're someone who has read a lot of stuff. Yeah, okay. And then it ends with Zelda. Nice. Anti Zelda. Got some on pause. J's on pause. Jujutsu Kaisen's on pause. GTO. iShield. iShield is really good. iShield is really good. Yu-Gi-Oh! Okay, this is your right. We have to read Baki. You need to read Baki. I know you're someone's gonna enjoy Baki. Okay. So I kind of want to ignore the the amount of anti, and I kind of want to tackle some shonen, some big shonen, maybe a sports shonen, because we know each other from a sports server, so that will be nice. A sports manga that you haven't read. Now that's the problem, right? Because I haven't read many sports manga that are big and that you haven't read it. The ones that come to mind, Slam Dunk, which you have completed, I think. Complete. I can found out I can look. Yeah, okay. Slam Dunk. I showed you had it on pause. That was also another option. I'm pretty sure you are. Okay, you don't have IQ, or I wrote it wrong. You don't have IQ. Did you watch IQ though? That is my question. Or are you watching? Shaman King completed. Okay. You've watched IQ. That's fine. That is fine. That is all the big sports manga that I read, I think. So I was thinking about recommending you this one, and I just noticed that you not only have completed it, but you've rated it 2 out of 10. Well, I guess not then. Have you read Tsubasa Chronicles? This is not a sports manga at all, of course. It is a battle shonen. It's one of the first battle shonens that I've read. One of the first manga overall that I read, actually. You have it on planning. Your plannings... Okay, you have almost 2,000 manga on planning. Planning is ruined, because I don't want to recommend things that I know that you are aware of, that exists, or that you are already thinking of reading. But when you have... when you have 1,000 manga on your planned... that means you probably just added anything that looked interesting. I do the same. I've added, and even then I have like 300, 400 manga on my planned from doing that. And when someone recommends me something from my plan, sometimes I'm not even aware that it's on my plan. So I'm not sure if that is the case with you or not. Either way, I'm gonna recommend you Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicle. I think in terms of clamp manga, it's one of the most fun that I've read. I've read a couple. No, I've definitely not read all of them. I've read like 6 or 7 clamp manga overall. If you're reading Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicle, however, you also need to read this one, XXholic, or it's kind of like Hunter x Hunter, where it's just called Holic. And this manga is deeply connected with Tsubasa Chronicles. The endings of both are interconnected, so you kind of need to read both to understand the ending. The thing is, in my opinion, Holic is the best clamp manga. It's my favorite clamp manga. It has one of my favorite characters, which is Yuko Ichihara, which is the main character, and she appears on Tsubasa Chronicles as well. And yeah, and together they are about 500 chapters. So that is definitely deserving payback for recommending me Prince of Tennis. So yes, read them both. Okay, now I have Fine too. Fine is also someone that I know is a Jump fan. That I know he really likes Jujutsu Kaisen. Doro. I remember Chainsaw Man. We had different opinions of the ending, but I think he likes a lot of stuff that I like, and he dislikes a lot of stuff that I like as well. So you gave 7.5 to Gravity Boys. I'm actually really happy for that. I thought you'd be giving it less. Time Paradox, Build King. Okay, yeah. This is mostly. It's mostly Jump. We got some outliers here. Actually, not mostly Jump. I'd say like half of it is Jump. Right. Tokyo Ghoul. I still need to read Tokyo Ghoul. I kind of want to recommend you a shonen as well. A shonen that I think you might enjoy. So I know that you appreciate like these weirder, kind of like maybe darker shonens. Chainsaw Man, Fire Punch. This one I haven't read, but I know it's kind of similar. It's by an assistant. You got Doro, which is not a shonen, it's a seinen, but you got Jujutsu Kaisen, Hunter x Hunter. Okay, so you do not have Soul Eater, correct? You have Soul Eater on your planning. Your planning is 1 or 10. Okay. If it is on your planning is not that big. I'm gonna maybe recommend you something else. How would you like this one? Okay, you have it on your planning as well. Damn it. You're gonna have it. Okay, you completed Yoshino Samidare. I saw you completed Spirit Circle, so I assumed that you probably were at least aware of Yoshino Samidare since it's by the same author. I think it's the most well-known manga. And if you have read Yoshino Samidare, if any of you have read this one and has liked it and hasn't read Spirit Circle, do it, because Spirit Circle is fantastic. And it's one of the most interesting battle shonens that are not pure battle shonens, are not just classic battle shonens. This one is definitely one that you guys should check out and be aware. God, this is hard. Okay, so the manga that I'm gonna recommend to you is Grappler Baki. This is part 1 of Baki, and as you can see, it's 42 volumes. It's a very big battle shonen, and of course, it has a lot of sequels that I personally haven't read. I'm currently reading part 2. I'm 17 chapters in. I've read 2 volumes only, and I kind of need to reread them honestly, and go back to it. But part 1 is really interesting. It's really nice, and it's an easy read, honestly. It's very fast and it's very fun. In terms of enjoyment, it is up there. So yeah, I know, or at least I think that most of the things that I see that you enjoyed in terms of battle manga seems to be more recent stuff, not necessarily in a manga that is 30 years old by now. Yeah, I think it's not necessarily the thing that you tend to read more often, but you know, you can always check out the anime adaptation. Though the recent anime adaptation is from part 2, as far as I'm aware. But you can always check that one out. I haven't checked it, so I don't know how it is. But yes, do check out Baki. I think you're gonna enjoy it. Um, I think it might be up your alley. Okay, next one is TaranTeja. Now Taran is just to give it a small shout out, is the first person to actually complete my Shonen Jump challenge. So I haven't completed it yet. He has the 10 challenges. He's the first one that I'm aware that he completed. And I know he's a big fan of, you know, Chainsaw Man and Devilman. I knew it. I'm not just saying because that's the things that he has in here. We've talked about both of those franchises, and I know that he likes them. Um, so yeah, I kind of want to have those in mind. You know, okay, Fire Punch as well. Those are the kind of things that I know he might enjoy. Dorodoro, those are kind of manga that I enjoy. Devilman not so much. I think Devilman hasn't aged as well as some other manga has. You know, especially like compared to Shino Joe, which is from around the same time and around the same magazine. I think Shino Joe aged much better than Devilman. Devilman is still a fun read, however. But yeah. Okay, so that is kind of the thing. Maybe a seinen, like a battle-ish seinen, or maybe a more dark shonen. That's kind of the things, kind of the vibes that we should probably go for a manga for you. Okay, so let me look at my list, which I've been doing a lot more on this part. Actually, this may work just fine if you haven't checked Gantz. It was on your plan. No, it is completed. 9. Fine, fair, of course. Makes sense. It is a manga that I think you'd enjoy, and you clearly do. Let's go back. Let's go back to the list, movie. Okay, so a cut here because I actually recommend something to TaranTeja before I realized that he had made a request. That request is anti-hero manga, or a manga with an anti-hero. That reduces a lot of my choices, but by reducing them, I think it actually helps picking something true to actually recommend. I kind of want to go with Beelzebub. Let me just check if you have it on planning. You gotta hurt me like this. How about Shirin Joe? You have it on planning. Okay, whatever. Sorry, but I'm gonna recommend you something that you have on planning, and that's Beelzebub. I think you should read it. The main character is my favorite main character, together with Denji. In terms of Shonen Jump manga, I think that tells you a lot. Both of them are really just they have what embodies a normal battle shonen, or normal main jump main character, but do it in a kind of a different way. Now with Beelzebub is a little more in terms of gag. He's kind of like this super evil character because Beelzebub, which is a baby, attaches himself to the most evil person around. So he picked Olga, which is the main character, because Olga is really evil and he's kind of like a delinquent and a gangster, and he basically just goes around punching people. So that's, by my definition, that is an anti-hero. And honestly, I think there is a lot of it that you can enjoy, especially if you like, comedy and battle manga joined together. I kind of want to say, if you enjoy Chainsaw Man, I'm not sure if it is 100%. If it is that as similar to Chainsaw Man, I think both just happened that I really enjoy both of them. But yeah, I think you're definitely going to enjoy Beelzebub. And while you're at it, just check out Ashita no Joe as well. I think it's a manga that has aged really well, as I said before. The main character is a bit of an anti-hero. He's a bit of an asshole, honestly. A bit of a delinquent as well. And there's a really interesting and fun character arc for Joe throughout the entirety of the manga. And that's that above anything else is the main reason to read Ashino Joe. I think it's to see Joe's journey from homeless delinquent basically to an actual boxer. And yeah.
Okay, so now we have Yubei. And the thing about Yubei is that he's one of the persons that I know that has more manga read. I don't think he's the person with the most manga read, but he's definitely up there. And as you can see, he has around 2,000 manga and around 90,000 chapters read. And this is gonna take. I think it's gonna take a little while to actually load his manga. So we're gonna cut here. Okay, so this is still loading. As you can see, he has almost 2,000 completed manga, 100 and something reading, and almost 100 paused. He doesn't drop manga, so in that aspect, he's kind of like me. I also don't like to drop. I have a bunch of manga on pause, not as much as Yubi does, but I also have around like almost 50 manga on pause that I plan on eventually going back to. So the thing about Yubi is that, of course, when he has read or is reading so many manga, it's very hard to actually know his tastes. I mean, you can go to his stands. I think his tastes, from what I know from the conversations that I've had with him, are kind of a bit all over the place. He is someone, I think, is someone who prefers something that isn't, perfect or well written enough to reach the point of artificiality. Is someone who appreciates the flaws and of a manga, someone who appreciates manga. Sometimes there are classics or manga that are not really too mainstream. I'm looking at his stands. I have never actually looked in for real at his stands. He has Ikora at a 9. This is actually pretty nice. That's a nice manga. I haven't seen many people who have read Haikora. If you like Lavina, if you like those kind of Aram rom-coms, this is a very fun one. Frank and Fran, I Shield, Gekiga Hitler. What the hell is this? Alright, interesting. Gone, he's read Kasane. A lot of, he has Lavina at a 9. Milaka Box at a 9. And Nero was a 9. I thought Yube and my tastes were not too similar from the conversations that I've had with him. I actually thought our tastes were way different. And actually seems like we have a lot of things in common. As read Ultimate Intai Kamen, this is a nice one. I don't think it deserves a 9. I give it a 5 because it is very repetitive. But it is a fun manga. It is a very interesting and fun manga. So I'm not gonna be able to go through his entire list. Is reading JoJo's. So the idea for Yube is to try to find something that isn't, too mainstream. If it is, he probably already has read it. Not even like, I think if he found like something that has a good cult following, he probably has read it. He also seems to have read pretty much everything from Tezuka. Comics in Round, I wasn't even aware this was translated. Maybe it isn't. Maybe he speaks Japanese, but I actually don't think he does. Godzilla manga. There's a lot of like. This is a good list if you want to find like interesting stuff. Um, just looking at the covers and things like that. Okay, so I'm gonna stop here. I'm gonna try to find. I think maybe a rom-com manga. I've read a bunch of rom-com mangas when I started reading manga, so maybe there's some that he hasn't read. Actually, let's check out. There was one that I read actually very recently, which is a mix of rom-com and horror. Let me see if I can find it. This one, Megutsan Kitan. Yeah, I read this I think last year or 2 years ago. I actually was the one who said it was kind of similar to Lavina. It does remind me of Lavina. I think Lavina influenced a lot of those early 2000s manga, of early 2000s RM rom-coms and ecchi manga. This is definitely one of those that were at least influenced in Lavina, or in the 90s RM rom-coms at least. Let's see if Yubi has read it. Yubi has read it. Give it a 1 out of 10. This is this is a great image. This is why I say his scores are or tastes are not that similar, because I think his scores are I think his scores are all over the place. From my point of view, I'm sure he has like some sense of his own ratings, but to me, some two mangas maybe seem similar in quality, and he has one rated 9 and one rated 2, and I have no idea why. But everyone has their own opinions and their own ratings, so. So I mean, if he has Lavina as a 9, I'm assuming he likes Kanakamatsu. So actually, what I'm gonna do is check out if he has read the debut work of Kanakamatsu, which is this one, I Got the Maranai, or I Love You. This actually has been translated into English by Tokyo Pop, but it hasn't. It's been out of print for a while, I think, because Tokyo Pop went under. It's very similar. I haven't completed this one. I've read a couple chapters of this one. It does seem to be very similar to this one. So actually, let's check to see if Yubi has. Yeah, you gave it a 1 out of 10, of course. Of course. Okay, I'm still gonna recommend you I Love You or Haigato Maranai. Again, this is by Kanakamatsu. This is very similar to Lavina. It's a bit more. It's not as good as Lavina. He would perfect his manga writing style later on. But if you like Lavina, if you like rom-coms, if you like older manga, which I know you do, this is one that I think you could check out. You could enjoy. And at least to see like his Kanakamatsu's evolution, because this was his debut work, and from here he will work on Lavina, he will work on Negima. I think he has worked on a couple of other more are not more famous, but also a couple of other famous works. UK Older, also by him. But yeah, that is definitely my recommendation to you. So hope you enjoy it, if you do read it. Okay, next is Spider 2116 that I know from in the Gravity of Boy server, because he's one of, as you can see from the avatar, he's one of those good guys who actually enjoys a lot of Gravity Boys. Here you go. Just from that you can know that he is a good person. So let's check out what he's reading. He's reading a lot of Jump, Jagan, I haven't read that one. Deadpool Samurai, actually checked this out last week, and it's pretty fun. Let's check. Akametsu, Gravity Boys a 9, Chainsaw Man a 9, FMA a 9. Yeah. I mean, you are someone who likes, I'm not gonna say Jump, likes shonen. You read Shin Devilman. I'm assuming you've watched Devilman. What rating? You give it a 5. That's the same rating I gave it. I think Devilman's a bit better. Okay, you have a Devilman on paused. This one, you should check out this one. We Never Learn, or you should continue this one because I really like it. From your planning, definitely read Medaka Box. This is one that I really enjoy. I've heard about this one, Shonen Shoujo. I've heard this name. No idea what it is. I'm gonna add it to planning. Either way, we'll see. We'll see. I'll check it out later. Girl, boy. Okay. But yeah, definitely the thing going for your release. I think it's find a shonen, and I kind of want to give you like something an interesting shonen. So let me check my own list. Actually, I made a list of like a lot of the shonens that I read. They give it a Rick and Morty name, because I like Rick and Morty. Blood Lad, I've recommended it. I'm not gonna do that again. Arpeg number V, it's definitely a fun one. A lot of these are like canceled manga. I need to update this list, I think. I'm just gonna check your anime list, just see what other battle shonens you've watched, not read. These have, not really a battle shonen, but Promised Neverland, Death Note, Ageretsuko. It's really nice. I've seen the first 2 seasons. It's really fun. Naruto. Not Bleach. You have Soul Eater. That will be a one that I could recommend to you. And honestly, if you liked, I don't think you give it a 6.5. That's not too high. It's still positive. So if you like that one, definitely check the manga, because I know it doesn't truly adapt the manga towards the end. And it is a fun one. I really enjoyed it. I read it 2 years ago or last year. Really, really fun. You know what? I'm gonna recommend you this one, Spirit Circle. I've mentioned it a little while ago, I think on this video. Again, this is by this mangaka, Satoshi Mizukami, which I've read some manga from him. I've read 3 manga from him. I know that he's well known just for doing different but interesting battle shonens, or shonens in general. This one I think is one of his most well known. He has an anime Planet with, I think, that one. It's also a manga that is pretty well known. This seems to be his most recent one. Yeah, it's ongoing. I haven't read this one, so I'm not gonna recommend it. But Spirit Circle, out of the ones that I've read, it's the most interesting to me. It's not a pure battle shonen. It very much works on not really time traveling, but visiting past and future lives of these main characters, and see how these 2 main characters are connected to each other in multiple lives, and how they affect each other, because they're supposedly to be enemies for life, or in this case for even further than life. They're always destined to be on opposite ends, and we go through a bunch of lives, and we see a bunch of like not really alternative realities, but different eras and different versions of these people, which are always kind of similar but a little bit different depending on where they are, and just how they interact with other people. And it is really fun. So yes, I mean, if anyone hasn't read Spirit Circle and you want to check out a different kind of shonen, do read it. Okay, so we have Mayu afterwards. Mayu is also someone I know from the Gravity Boys server, and I jokingly say that he's the only person I know that is a bigger fan of Gravity Boys than me, which is probably not true. There's probably a bunch of other people who are bigger fans of Gravity Boys than me, but Mayu is definitely who won. He's up here. And again, sign that he's a good person. Sign that he's great. This is my list. That's not what I want. There you go. Okay, he's reading Claymore. He's reading Karen. Interesting. This is one that I read a while ago, and it has some interesting ideas. I think the execution in some aspects is not the best one. It's decent. It's a decent one. Reading Bleach, that's nice. I should reread Bleach. Okay, paused. You paused Sakamoto Days. Man, that's the best manga in Jump right now. I mean, it's not the best, but it's definitely the best rookie right now, and one of the best. You know, One Piece is there, of course, but Drop TaranTeja, that makes kind of sense if you were not caught up when what happened. Okay, so this is your completed list. Kimetsu. Oh, you don't have scores. That makes things harder, but we'll work with it. You know, Chainsaw Man, Gravity Boys, Blom. I don't like Blom. I mean, I don't know. I haven't read Blom. I've read other stuff. I probably have mentioned this. I've read other stuff from Nihei and didn't like it. Sorry if I'm repeating myself. Okay, so his favorites are JoJo Part 4, Saint Oni-san. I haven't read this one. I know what it is about, but I haven't checked it out. Chainsaw Man and Gravity Boys. So let's try to work with that. You know, okay, I was gonna say read Fire Punch. You've read Fire Punch. It is here. You know, okay. Let's check your planning. Blood Lad, nice. Deadpool Samurai, Dr. Stone. You should check out Dr. Stone. Slam Dunk Soul Eater. That's a good list of planning. You know, I seem to attract a lot of people who like Chainsaw Man Doro, because those are kind of like two of the biggest fan bases that I'm kind of part of. So yeah. So the thing is, there's not many things that are kind of similar to those two. Maybe Blom is. I see a lot of people like those two. I also like Blom. I'm not sure if I recommended Gantz yet on the videos. But Gantz definitely something that is kind of similar. Mix, kind of like this horror manga that is just, you know, insane in pretty much every level. So it is similar to that. So let me check if I can find anything else. You know, just something a little bit different. Biomeat Nectar. Actually, I'm not sure if you'll like this one. This is kind of a pure horror for fans of like BR movies. Okay, I'm going a bit too low. Actually, Macanex another is a manga that I read because it's by Q Ayashida, and I think it might be an interesting read for you. You know, it's the thing about Macanex another is that it is, as you can see by the description, it is based on a video game. So it's not perfect. It doesn't really assume that you know the story of the game, because I read it without having to play the game. But it is definitely one where I think if you have a bit more of context of things, maybe you would have help understand things. It's not always obvious what is happening, but, you know, it's by Q.I. Ishida. It's by the Dororo mangaka. And it's around the same time. Both of them, Macanex Another and Dororo, started both in 2000. So this is very similar to the beginning of Dororo. And it has, like, in terms of imagery, it has some really, really, like, fun and incredible and just mesmerizing imagery here and there. So just for that, just for a little bit more of Dororo's heart, I think it's definitely worth checking out. And if you like, I know Blom, I know Nihei, one of the best things in his writings, or not in this case, not in his writings, but in his manga, that I personally even enjoy, is actually the art style. You know, the background, some of the imagery that he uses, very inspired on Alien, which is of course my favorite movie. So I always appreciate some Giger in places, and I've been seeing it a lot in some older manga, some 80s manga. But yeah, you know, Blam Chainsaw Man also has like some, you know, insane imagery, especially in the Hell arc. Dororo, of course. So if you like those, I think you're gonna enjoy Mechanics Center. It's not gonna be your favorite. It's not gonna top those, but you know, for 3 volumes, 21 chapters, you can read this in like 3 hours, maybe even less, like 1 hour and a half, 2 hours. Um, I think it's definitely an experience worth having if you're a fan of Dorodoro, at least. So yeah, that is my recommendation. Okay, we're reaching the end. We have Lord Yamio here. He's someone who has also a YouTube channel. You guys can check it out. Um, he does, you know, micro reviews of chapters, of Shonen Jump chapters. And let's see what he has. He has a bunch of stuff that I haven't actually read. You know, I've been planning on reading this one. Death Note, I've watched the anime. I've never read the manga. Dragon Ball, I've watched the anime as a kid. I haven't read the manga. I plan to. And Gash Bell is a manga that I've been recommended like a billion times, and I want to read it, but I haven't read it. And of course, he has Lavina, which is one of my favorites of all time. But it's definitely the only one here that I've actually read the manga on his completed, which is kind of amazing. Like, you know, he has 5 manga, and 4 of them are 4 that are not on my list. Check out. He's reading Assassination Classroom. That's a really good one. D. Grayman, really really great manga. I need to catch up because I started reading it and then got on hiatus, and then I stopped. Never came back to it. No, One Piece, One Punch Man, JJK, a bunch. Okay. Let's check out. You have a lot that I could recommend, and that's nice. I like being able to do that. Actually, let's check just your anime list. Okay, Dragon Ball GT, FLCL. Dragon Ball GT, I really liked when I watched it as a kid as well. I haven't gone back to it to see how it holds up, but you know, I liked it then. FLCL is probably one of my favorite anime. The only anime that I've watched, that I've rewatched. I think, and I've rewatched it like 4 times. With friends, so definitely a good one. You know what? Maybe this is a massively basic recommendation, but you have not checked out Full Metal Alchemist. And you know, I think especially, I don't know how long you've been watching anime or reading manga. But FMA is definitely one that is always worth, you know, checking out if you haven't. If you just, it's probably one that if you've watched enough anime and manga, you probably have been recommended a lot. You've probably checked out. Not everyone likes it, but I think most people end up liking it. Either the manga or the adaptation, which in this case is Brotherhood. And you know, I was following it weekly back when it was releasing, and it was just a fun experience. I definitely need to reread it because it has ended in 2010. I haven't went back to it since then, but it still has one of my favorite endings even now. So yeah, for sure, check that one out. Okay, and so the final one is Lady Freya. I really don't have much more time for anyone else. This is reaching, I think, 50 minutes. So if you're not on part 1 or part 2, I'm very sorry about that. So to Lady Freya, she's someone who has helped me a lot in my JoJo video, like the Lost Era of JoJo, and on the upcoming Year 24 video, she's given me the resources that I've been using to research JoJo. And so she is like super knowledgeable in JoJo, like early. I think even modern. We haven't really
talk much about that, but I think she is like knowledgeable about pretty much every single aspect of shoujo manga and josei manga. Which, okay, so the interesting part about Freya is that, or about this recommendation, that she asked me to recommend her a shonen manga. So she hasn't read many shonen manga. We can find here. So the ones that I've read from her list is Ibarikun and Konogadashi, both the one shot and the manga. Um, and I recognize some. I recognize Sayonara Football. I recognize Princess Girl. I recognize Nekomako Zo, and Terahi, which I thought was a shoujo. Yeah, I know it's from a mangaka from year 24, which was more well known for shoujo. I wasn't aware that this was its a shonen. Those are the ones that I know. I haven't read it. But most of these actually I'm not even familiar with. And she has read a bunch of seinen as well. Ayako, that's an interesting one. A couple, okay. Asano, as Sayasumi Punpun here. Uzumaki. Yes, I'm not the biggest fan of this one. It's interesting. There's definitely shoujo vibes on this one. But yeah. Okay, you read a bunch of Tezuka. You haven't read any shonen Tezuka, which would be like a great way to like start. Maybe recommend you a shoujo, a shonen Tezuka manga. But the thing is, I actually haven't read any either. I've read the ones that I've read from Tezuka are either seinen or shoujo actually. The thing that I want to do, or that I'd like to do, is to recommend you a shonen that maybe has some relevance to the demographic, or maybe as is a classic, or I don't know. Even if it's not a classic, I kind of don't want to recommend you just kind of like a traditional shonen, or in traditional sense of like a battle shonen. I don't think that's the kind of manga that you enjoy. So even if that's the biggest kind of shonen, the most popular kind of shonen, it's definitely interesting to check out. I think. I don't want to just show you something that I don't think you will like. So I'm gonna try to keep away from those, and see what I have. Let's see what I have. Okay, so there's two choices that I have here. So one of them is Skull Rumble, and the reason why I'm thinking this one is because I remember we've talked when I read Stoppy Barikun that I mentioned that I felt like some of the tropes that they use is, even if they weren't overused in 1981, which was when the manga was released, it was kind of overused by the time that I read it, which was early this year. And you mentioned that you enjoyed it and that you never felt like there was too much overuse of tropes, especially because you haven't read a lot of shonen for you to be tired of those specific tropes. And with that in mind, maybe reading another rom-com, or not really rom-com, but reading another kind of like those kind of manga, like this gag manga, maybe would be interesting to you. And School Rumble is one of my favorite, in this genre. It's a bit old by now. It's from 2002, which to me still counts as modern manga. And I think for you, it counts as well. The ending is a bit of a doozy, but I think it works. Everything else works pretty fine, and it reminds me a lot of Kami-san. If any of you have read Kami-san, because it's very much about the relationship between the characters, the relationship, who loves who, and these friendships between, character X and Y, and there's almost kind of like this super deep map just of who's friends with you, who loves who, who's brothers of who. And it's interesting in that aspect. Kind of reminds me of Kami-san. I think overall School Rumble is even better than Kami-san. I think Kami has some characters and specific points in the story where it is better and it is more enjoyable. But overall, I think everything in School Rumble, in terms of quality, is very consistent. While in Kami-san, it really isn't. There's a lot of fluff in Kami-san that I honestly think we could do better without. And the other recommendation, because I have two in mind, the other one is Takeo-chan Bukairoko, which there is not an English title, so that I could pronounce. And actually, this is gonna be my actual recommendation to you. It's a bit more modern, 2011. It's not a shonen that I think many people have read, or not at all. There's 67 completed users on Anilist, but this is a fun one. This is also kind of a gag manga about a girl that is super unlucky, and turns out she has a curse, and she is sent to a hin, or a mansion, where a lot of demons, a lot of yokai live, and the yokai feed on negative energy, but they find out that the Takeo-chan actually releases the negative energy. She's so used to everything going wrong with her life that when something wrong happens, she doesn't feel anything. So the thing is, they need to make her feel better about herself. They need to do nice things to her for her to release the energy that they feed on. And so it becomes this very awesome story of a bunch of monsters, of like evil monsters, trying to be nice to this very unlucky girl and trying to make her life a little bit better. So it's really nice. It has a lot of pulls from, mythology, Japanese mythology, Japanese folklore, which I'm not sure if you enjoy. It does seem to be a thing that you may like. And honestly, this is one of most, even when it is black and white, you can see a little bit there by the banner. I think even when it is black and white, it's still a very, very colorful manga. It shines. I think the art style is really, really fun, and especially when we do get covers or color pages, it's very beautiful to look at. So yeah, that definitely is my recommendation to you. And again, we're gonna stop it here because we're reaching a size in the video that I really do not want to go past. And again, if you do enjoy it, if you do watch it till here and think that you'd enjoy seeing more videos of this kind with other people, or if you want to participate, do let me know. Comment, like, and share and subscribe. You just because I could use a bit more of a following. And yeah, that is it. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you watch it till here, thank you very much. I'll see you next video.